Hey, it's Denise. Um, this is one of those videos where kind of sharing again what it's like for people who live with chronic migraines. As I'm recording this, it is just about 8 a.m. on a Friday morning. I've been awake since about 4 a.m. I woke up with a headache, and I actually did a video, probably around, I don't know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, where I was like, screw it, I'm awake, might as well do a video. But around 7:30, I thought maybe the medication I took was starting to help, and I thought, let me try to go back to sleep, because I was around 7. I had taken the medicine probably about a little after 6. So around 7, I was like, okay, let's try to go back to sleep. And as you can tell, that did not work. Now, when I say I tried to go back to sleep, I really tried to go back to sleep. I did the whole thing. I did the, as I've mentioned previously, I use the Headspace app for meditation, and they also do sort of like guided imagery things for helping you fall asleep, which I like. They do like the 8-hour rain radio, which is one of their, they break their stuff down, like the sleep casts are the guided imagery ones that are like 45 minutes, although they only actually talk for about maybe 25 minutes, and then the rest just sort of fades into the background noise. Like if you're at the aquarium, the person will stop talking, but you'll still hear like the bubbly noises and the, occasional someone walking by noises, like, so that you gradually maybe don't notice that the person has stopped talking, and it's not like a jarring thing when the person stops talking, because that is my problem with, if I'm listening to intently, when the person stops talking, then it's like, oh, they stopped talking, and that catches my attention, and it sort of re-wakes me up. So that's when I like the longer ones, the sleep radio. My favorite of which is the rain radio, which starts out like a sleep cast, someone talking, but it goes on for 8 hours then of various, like, sort of, soft music with still rain and rain-related kind of noises, if that makes any sense. But it plays for like 8 hours or something, so that basically it keeps some background noise going all night. In addition, I usually also have, like on my computer, I have relaxed melodies, and I'll have usually, like, again, I find the water kind of sounds relaxing, so I'll have one that mixes ocean waves, and seagulls, and frogs chirping, with maybe some rain, and I'll have that on kind of a low volume on my computer, and then on my phone I'll have the Headspace thing going on, so it has something to blend into, so there isn't just this silence when it stops. So I had that going on. I did the whole wind down, breathing exercise thing to relax, to try to get your mind. I realize I'm leaning sideways because I'm lying down. This is I'm exhausted, my head still hurts, and I can't fall back to sleep posture. I realized it's almost perfectly like diagonal. It makes me want to straighten out my monitor. Trying to do this would just be so uncomfortable and weird, because I'm just kind of, as you can see, leaning in bed. I try to be a little straighter. It still feels weird because my body is leaning diagonally, and my head hurts, and I have my, having the light, you can probably see through the glasses that I am squinting, And I have my monitor turned on to the absolute dimmest so that what I'm looking at is not bright light. Of course, when I didn't have a light turned on behind me, the result was that it was almost like a horror movie effect of you could just kind of barely see my face surrounded by darkness. And I wasn't trying to give off a horror movie vibe, so the compromise was turn down the screen brightness and turn on the light, which is not directly in my eyes. But even at that, I'm finding myself squinting because, like many people with migraines, when I have one, I am sensitive to the light. It makes me actually more nauseous to have the light on. So this is not going to be a long video. I did watch another video, and I'm terrible at remembering her name, and I love her videos, but I will get her channel name correct and put it in the description box. She did what I thought was a fabulous video explaining migraines, and chronic migraines especially. There are plenty of people who, over the course of their life, may only get one or a few migraines. And to them I say, lucky you. I mean, you'd be luckier if you didn't get any, but the fact that you don't get them on a chronic basis is a good thing. But then there are those of us for whom they are part of almost daily life or daily life, and that's when they really become disabling, depressing, and you find yourself having to go sometimes from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor until someone hears you, takes you seriously, and is knowledgeable enough. You need that whole combination, because you could have someone who's listening to you but just isn't knowledgeable enough, doesn't keep themselves as up to date. I'm fortunate. The neurologist I have now specializes in headaches. Like, that's his thing. So, he's like a sub-specialist. He's not just a neurologist. He is a headache and pain management neurologist. So I found the right doctor. I like him. I find him very easy to talk to. I've mentioned him before when in videos where I've talked about migraines. To me, that is crucial. You have to find the right doctor. If your doctor either isn't taking you seriously in terms of the severity of your migraines or the severity of the impact they're having on your life, both your ability to be productive and the fact that, and I'm not exaggerating here, during times when my migraines were really completely, nothing was controlling them, and I was in pain with a headache 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If I was conscious, I was in pain with a headache. And I don't mean a mild headache, I mean a migraine, where even if the intensity of the pain was varying, the nausea was still there, the light sensitivity was still there. During those times, sometimes I didn't want to live. And I don't say that to be dramatic. I say it because when you're in pain day after day after day, it starts messing with your head and messing with your mood. And that's just not my opinion. There are people who live with chronic pain of pretty much any kind can tell you that sometimes it just really wears on your soul. And once you find a doctor who gets you on a treatment regime that has you feeling better, you realize what a dark place you had been in while you were dealing with that relentless pain. And, when someone makes it go away finally, you're like, oh my God, like, why was I having to live like that? No one should have to live like that. And, unfortunately, even the best treatment regimen, which for me, I'm on probably the most effective preventative meds that I've ever been on. I take a once-a-month injection, and I take a tablet that I have to take twice a day. So I'm on 2 medications that are preventatives. But there are still breakthrough days. There are still days there where I have migraines. And then, there are different classes of meds that are meant to help stop a migraine once it has started. Unfortunately, the most popular, largest, one that has the most different medications within it are all related to the drug Imitrex. That sort of family of drugs are referred to as triptans, and I'm allergic to triptans. I did use Imitrex back in, I think it was the 90s it came out. Used it successfully for a while, and unfortunately developed an allergy to it. So, and went so far as to be allergy tested, by an allergist, because it wasn't something I wanted to give up the ability to use if it was just some weird one-time reaction. But no, I was covered in hives when when we went through the testing again. So yeah, I can't take any of the triptans. So once I actually have a migraine, once one starts, I really don't have any effective medication to stop it. I can take something like Furoset, which is a prescription medication for headaches that helps you sort of get through it. It's not a strong painkiller. It's not like an opiate type painkiller, but rather it's acetaminophen, or which I believe in the UK is equivalent to like paracetamol, Tylenol, caffeine, which is known to help headaches, particularly migraines. And it has a small dose of a barbiturate, which doesn't stop pain per se, but this might sound weird, but it just sort of helps you disconnect a little bit from the pain. It helps you relax a little bit in spite of the pain, so that it just makes it more tolerable. It doesn't have, well, I shouldn't speak for everyone. Some people might feel zoned out or high, if you want to put it that way, on it. I don't feel that way on Furoset, although I do notice that when I take it, I might tend to be more talkative, whereas in person I'm generally not overly chatty. If I've had to take a couple doses of Furoset, like that's probably the only time that people are like, oh dear God, Denise, stop it. You're just, like, you haven't stopped talking for 3 hours. So that is an effect it has on me. I'm generally, unless I really have something I feel like discussing, I'm not so much to just chat. And a few doses of Furoset, I become a very chatty person. I also find things funnier. That's assuming that it's working and I'm not in pain. Which, today I've only taken 1 dose. It was a couple hours ago. It didn't work. I'm not feeling happy or chatty or thinking things are funny right now. So, yeah. But, that's kind of my option. I took Motrin earlier, ibuprofen. That didn't work. Waited a couple hours. That's why, I didn't take the Furoset first thing. I like to try something else first, especially because I am already on the preventative medication, so I like to try something maybe over the counter like ibuprofen to see if that will help. In this case, it didn't. I waited a couple hours, then I took a Furoset, Something of note also, if you've watched any of my videos where I talk about my weight loss, I did have weight loss surgery over a year ago. I did lose about 100 pounds. And one thing they do warn you about when you're having weight loss surgery is that if you're someone who likes alcohol, now, I'm not really a drinker, never really was, but they warn you that if you have a drink, it will hit you much harder than it did when you were heavier. And I had a vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Sometimes people just call it the sleeve or VSG, where they basically remove about 2/3 of your stomach, and you're left with just imagine your stomach is basically just a continuation of here's your esophagus going down, and now you should have a big stomach. Well, they cut off most of it, so your stomach is basically just a continuation of your esophagus in terms of the size of it. I think they said that it holds about 3 to 4 ounces. So you have a very small stomach. They do warn you that between your small stomach, which I guess absorbs things differently, and of course as you lose weight, again, the example they give is with alcohol, but I've learned that it is with any medication that apparently can have, I never got dizzy or lightheaded or any sort of out of it feeling from the medications I take when I was 100 pounds heavier. I have noticed, they warned that the alcohol would hit you heavier, if you were someone who used to be able to have a few cocktails, that now one might knock you on your ass. I've noticed that medications I used to be able to take together, if I take them together now, to try to get, the combined benefit that sometimes works better than taking them separately. In the past, I used to be able to take them together, and they might work enough that, say one is specifically for headache and the other is to help you sleep. I could take them together and actually go to sleep, and there was a decent chance I would wake up without the headache. But I've noticed since I've had the weight loss surgery and lost the weight that I can't tolerate the medications the same way. Medication that I used to be able to take and not have any ill effect, any bad side effects. Now, if I take that same amount of medication, my balance will be so bad that I actually fall. So it's kind of equivalent, to what they were saying of, for someone who used to be able to drink, that now one drink could have you drunk. So for me, medication I used to be able to take a little, I used to be able to take more of to try to help the headache. Now, that same amount of medication will have me at much greater risk of falling and hurting myself. So I don't have the option of doing that, which sort of sucks. Don't get me wrong, as far as for my health, I'm very glad that I made the decision to lose the weight. But when you realize that now you have to be a lot more careful in terms of being susceptible to the side effects of medications that never bothered you before. I mentioned at the beginning of the video, having a light on is making me nauseous. I just right now felt like my gag reflex trigger, almost gagged. And that's telling me that I gotta turn the lights off. And I don't mean to sort of abruptly end the video, but if I go for more than another few minutes, you're gonna get to watch me puke. And I don't want to puke, and you don't want to watch me puke. I will find, I'm not gonna, obviously if I can't have the light on, I'm not gonna stay watching a screen to post this immediately. I will try to do it later today, and I will find the video I was talking about, which I found both witty and informative. So it's not like a dry, boring video to watch at all, and really informative about kind of teaching you about migraines, but also, you know, not only what it feels like, but also like giving you a sort of rundown of actual educational, you know, aspects of the different stages of a migraine from the beginning to the how you kind of feel almost like you have a hangover afterwards. But I will find that video and link it in the description box. Check out that channel. She does a bunch of great videos. So she's a history buff and has some disabilities and does some really interesting videos, sort of biographies of people who had disabilities, although, you know, that may not be what they're particularly known for. Maybe they were a member of the royal family of somewhere and they also had a disability, or they were some other well-known person in history who had a disability that wasn't particularly talked about, because, you know, you go back, hell, there are people who still have hang-ups about talking about health because they think it's either a curse from God or, you know, bad karma paying you back or whatever, you know, stigma they attach to various health conditions. But certainly back in, you know, a couple centuries back, people did not talk about any sort of health condition, particularly if it seemed to run in the family. You did not talk about it because then, you know, it was widely believed that your family must not be in good favor with God, or else this condition wouldn't run in your family. But she does a great job of doing these historical sort of videos. She also does videos on historical figures who are gay or bisexual, and some of them are really interesting as well. And she does some movie reviews from the perspective of looking at them for historical accuracy. Really, she does a bunch of really great videos. So I will definitely put a link to the one about migraines, but I encourage you to check out her channel in general. Anyway, I'm squinting as long as one can squint without starting to add to the headache, because like now these muscles are getting in on the squinting angle of what gives you squinting gives you a headache, even if you didn't already have one. And yeah, gonna barf if I don't turn the lights off. So thank you for watching. Be nice to people who are having a migraine. They really feel like crap. It's not just a headache. And it, like at this point, it's going to ruin my day. I had left my son a text, which I know he slept through the actual receiving of the text. One little noise on his phone is not enough to wake him up. Dear God, I am going to puke soon. I got to wrap this up. But I left him a message at like 7 o'clock-ish saying I was going to try to go back to sleep. Like, basically, don't wake me up unless, like, the place is on fire. My son is almost 18 years old, so, you know, please don't think I'm telling a child not to wake me up. He's almost 18. He has the judgment to know if he actually requires me. But, yeah, it's, at this point, it is 8:22. So I've been up since 4, and I feel like crap. And I don't feel like I'm going to sleep. I think if I was going to easily fall back to sleep, that would have happened while I was doing the whole headspace, meditate, try to be in my happy place thing. And it didn't. The headache was too distracting. The knowledge that I wasn't falling asleep then just becomes frustrating. So what I'm going to do now is take something for nausea, wait a few minutes, take another dose of Furacet, hope it helps, and try to go to sleep. Or at least acknowledge the fact that I need to be lying in the dark and trying to relax, even if I can't sleep. So it'll be me listening to rain noises and hopefully drifting off for some period of time, although that becomes less and less likely because, like I said, the Furacet does contain caffeine. So while it might be helping the headache, it's also keeping me awake. Anyway, please hit the like button. I hope this was informative. And if you're someone with migraines, you're not alone. We all need to stick together and help educate people who maybe don't understand that a migraine isn't just a headache, or because you hear people say, oh, I've got a migraine, when you're looking at them thinking, no, you don't, because if you really had a migraine, you wouldn't be looking so chipper, and we're standing under bright fluorescent lights. I was a nurse, so a lot of times I was standing under bright fluorescent lights, and believe me, if I had a migraine, I was like this when I was at work, because, it was like, oh dear God, I'm going to vomit if I have to look at any more of that lighting. So if someone's standing in bright sunshine or a brightly lit room saying they have a migraine, I'm kind of like, I'm doubting it. I'm thinking they're someone who doesn't have migraines, and just if they have a bad headache, they call it a migraine. And there's a lot of that from people who don't understand what a migraine really is. It's not just, oh, today I'm having a headache that's worse than my average headache. It's a whole separate thing. So yeah, it's something that a neurologist should actually diagnose you with. If you think you have them, you should see a neurologist. If you're having severe headaches, you should be seeing a doctor anyway to make sure that it isn't anything else that could be dangerous. So anyway, please give this video that I've almost vomited for a like, and I will see you soon, and hopefully we'll be talking about something happy and peppy, and I won't be squinting like this, and I'll be sitting upright. Have a great day.